Hi there, I'm Julie Gunkelman, and I want to show you something about ZipGrade today. So I entitled this presentation, Leverage the Power in Your Pocket. And that's because you'll be able to use your smartphone instead of a traditional Scantron machine. So we want to replace those Scantrons. That's why I was asked to make this video. So I use something called ZipGrade, and I just used my my personal email because I wasn't sure if I was going to keep using it or not. And now I've built such a big library that I don't want to change it. But once you log in, you're going to get some choices, and you can go to the hamburger menu. And this part is maybe not as intuitive as we would like, but you want to start with the answer sheet. Okay, so you're going to start with an answer sheet, and they have some for you. For this example, I'm going to use their 20 question form and show you what you would do to build this. This is what the sheet looks like. You would just have the students put their name. Obviously, we don't have a period. Sometimes I would put the class in there instead. I usually use custom-made ones, not the ones that are given to us, though. So you can curtail this to however you want it to be. Once you get the answer sheet made, then you make the quiz. So you probably have already typed your quiz on paper, and in ZipGrade, you make the answer sheet and then go ahead and make the quiz. And you're going to select new quiz, and I'm going to make this my sample 20 question quiz. So you're just going to name it something. You can go ahead and edit the answer key. This is just scrolling down a little bit down the page. I blew up the page so you could see a little bit better. When you actually log on there, you're going to see it's not quite so large. And then what you do is you scan this with your smartphone, and I will show you that a little bit later. But here is my example of Charlie Brown. Notice here on number 17, Charlie tried to cross out answer A and filled in B. So I review these quickly. I'll show you that part too. And I review these quickly just so I can see things like this, because we can fix this in ZipGrade. Let's go ahead and look at that. So I did move over to my phone, went into the quiz, and I go to review papers, and I can see that Charlie has got this question on number 17, and it looks like I went in and changed it already, but you want to go ahead and take off the one that is wrong, and then Charlie will get the correct grade. So it'll bump Charlie up to a 16 out of 20 instead of a 15 out of 20, which is kind of a cool feature. You can see already that ZipGrade is much better than a 1972 Scantron. That's when they came into existence. So that's why I said 1972. What you can do is you can make a class, and it's super simple to upload a class of students. What you're going to do is add a new class, and I'm going to call the name Cheers. I'm going to upload some characters from that show now. And what you're going to do is then go to your students after you make your class, and you want to import your students from a CSV file. What you're going to do is look for your file on your computer. Mine is called Cheers ZipGrade CSV, and it does have a header row, so you want to skip it. In other words, you don't want someone in your class to be first name, last name, etc. And then you're going to go ahead and upload it. And you're going to match up all of your fields, like first name, last name, ZipGrade ID. I usually make the student ID. And I am going to go ahead and place these into an existing class. You can add another field that is going to add them into a class. So in theory, you could do all your students at one time for each class and just put it into the class that you want. I usually don't do that, though. I usually like to do one at a time. And so here they are, right? I've got Woody Boy, Diane Chambers, etc. When you have a class, you can make answer sheet packets for that class. So instead of having a student put their name, student number on, etc., you can create that for them. And you can put an optional name on this. I just name my answer sheets with what it is for, like a skill check for my trig class or whatever it is. I'm going to go ahead and create a skill check 11 answer sheet for my Cheers class. So I'm going to do it 4 per page because that's the smallest it'll go, and it'll be downloaded for you. And what's kind of nice is you can see the name. and the student ID, and it also has what the name of the answer sheet is on the side. And so that's how I keep track of mine. So it does come with a lot of pre-printed information on there. I do use multiple keys for my classes, and so that's why that little key is down there at the bottom. When I started making new ones, I renamed that form so that the students weren't confused, like it's form A, form B, C, D, etc. And that has seemed to help. I scan my answer sheets in the classroom, and the file that I made did not work. So I'm going to try this again. I'll show you what it looks like to scan the answer sheets in the classroom. I pulled my phone up, and I'm going to go to my quiz. This is going to be the ITE Fall 25 Quiz 1, and I want to scan my papers. The participants really did not have these names, of course. It's just to protect identity. So I have some people here from friends. You just line up those little squares, and it does not take that long. You might hear the little noise from my phone. It makes a noise, or you can turn it off if you don't like that in the settings. I like it because then I know that I got the thing scanned. When I do this in the classroom, sometimes I do have to make sure that the lights are up and I'm not in a dark spot, because sometimes it gives me a notice that it's too dark, or it might be scanning wrong, etc. So you can see it's pretty quick. I'm going to keep that new one. I got Jerry scanned twice there while I was talking to you. But it does scan quite quickly. I usually do it right away before I leave the class. And sometimes I even enter it in my grade book right away. I'm interested to see what that's going to happen with that Carla. She had an X on one of those. And I think Joey was my last one. So I'm going to go ahead and review these papers. Joey's seems to be fine. I'm going to back up here. I'm going to go ahead, review papers. I was curious about Carla's. So she did cross out. Well, we're going to pretend that this Carla crossed out the A, and then the B was not correct. And so since Carla didn't color in another answer, we didn't get that. But I go through these like this on my phone, and I enter the grades in pretty quickly. I know when I was showing this to somebody, they asked me, can the grades automatically go into D2L? And the answer is no, but it's fairly quick, and it only costs $7 a year for unlimited scans. So it's very economical to use for this. Of course, you can review your quizzes on the computer as well. I'm going to go ahead and hit the quiz. It gives a little bit more detail on the computer, score distribution, and this is how I release my answer sheets to my students. So again, I do have to do that on the computer. I go to Manage Student Portal Posting, and you need to check all the students. I make sure that I show primary answers so that they can see what was wrong and what wasn't wrong, and they see a copy of the answer sheet just like I have been showing you. And then you go ahead and save those posting details, and you should be good to go. Now, how do the students figure out how to log in? There is, when you have the classes, you do have an option for student portal login instructions, which you just download. And I usually do the zip file containing individual PDF files. And you can see that this is what I get. So I get a list, or I get a separate file for every person. You can either print them out, or I usually just upload them on my D2L site into a little folder that I call ZipGrade Instructions and Graded Quizzes, because I do return graded quizzes to students before, like if they have a quiz on this class before a test, I'll scan them and put them up there. So that's my little overview of ZipGrade. I hope you give it a shot, and let me know if you've got any questions.